What fact are you just tired of explaining to people? Nothing's wrong. It's just my face. You look tired. Is something wrong? If I'm working at night, I need to sleep during some portion of the day. I remember still living at home after high school and getting a job that required midnights for a year. My mom would wake me up and ask me to take my sister to school, or set something out for dinner, or run errands while she was at work since I'm off all day. When I got pissed for being woken up at practically on neem for a normal person to go get milk from the store, she'd tell me to stop being lazy. Some people have a serious disconnect with this. For fuck's sakes. Thank you. I've worked night shift for years but fucking still, people who've known this for years are still shocked when I'm sleeping during normal day hours. Oh, but come on, you can go out for lunch with us and then go shopping at the mall for a couple hours and then get the rest of your sleep when you get home. Why not? Brother, that is like me asking you to wake up at 3 in the morning to go out for hours of activity and then just finish your sleep when you get home around 7. Tired of explaining this shit. I feel this in my soul. Do not call me at noon. How do they like getting phone calls at 3 am? I bet they'd be bitching so much love. That reminds me of this guy who posted about his family doing an intervention because he worked night shifts and would drink a beer at 9 am after his shift and was actually his 9. I'm a male and a nurse. No, I don't want to be a doctor. No, I'm not going to school to be a doctor. No, I don't feel like less of a man because I'm a nurse and not a doctor. And stop calling me doc and doctor. I've told you 5 times I'm your nurse and my badge says nurse in big letters. Everything is made of chemicals. Not everything natural is good and not everything man-made is bad. Yes, snake venom and crude oil are both completely natural. Asbestos too. Viruses are not bacteria. Bacteria are not viruses. Software developers are not computer technicians. Yeah, but my computer is running slow. Do you know why it is doing that? My cat videos don't run well on Reddit, and everyone says it's because the video player is crap, but I think it's because my computer is slow. Can you fix it? You're so good with computers. Can you fix the fact I am totally stupid, please? That type 1 diabetes isn't caused by your diet, and it cannot be cured. My mom had to stop a nurse from giving her something once, and was like, I'm a diabetic, I can't have that, and she said the nurse looked at her and goes, you don't look diabetic. I hear cinnamon does wonders. That we are short-staffed and you're just going to have to wait. That many Chinese people have my surname, but we're not all related to Jackie Chan, just like how not every person with Johnson as their surname is related to Boris Johnson. Maybe you just have Changnesia, Kevin. That because I can usually figure out how to fix most things does not mean I want to fix everything that breaks for anyone else. Edit it for typo because it bothers some. I'm a programmer. I write programs. I don't know why your computer won't turn on. I usually just say I didn't program that. Sorry. Yeah. Edit. Thank you for fixing Lenny's arm. I can't write you a program. I repair computers. I don't know why your code won't compile. Just because someone doesn't always need their disability aids, that doesn't mean they're not disabled and faking it. Someone who needs a wheelchair to get around doesn't always mean they can't use their leg. They can still walk short distances. And walking a short distance might completely fuck them up so that they have to spend all day lying in bed in agony the next day. You only see them walking. You don't see the after part. Also, being able to do something for a short time doesn't mean they can do the same task for any length of time. Also, disabled people have good days and bad days. Some days they might have the energy to do it. Other days they might not. Part-time chair user here. When I started, I felt like everyone was looking at me, so I would do less. Despite the fact using the wheelchair allowed me more accessibility. There was an episode of House where his parking space was moved farther from the hospital. He was told your file says you can walk 250 feet. Your space is icky 240. Get from the door. He responded, great, so I can collapse 10 feet into the lobby instead of the parking lot where it's cold. Just like being blind doesn't necessarily mean you see literally nothing. Being disabled doesn't necessarily mean you can't do anything at all. I have insomnia. No, I can't just think about nothing. Edit. Glad to know there's 15 of you out there that know the damn struggle. I tried to respond to each one. Zombie hugs to everyone, virtually from here. And just because I have insomnia doesn't mean I'm not tired. Just go to bed earlier. No. Going to bed when you're not tired only makes the problem worse. My favorite is, have you tried just closing your eyes and going to sleep? Oh, geez, why didn't I think of that? I'm cured! Gets job at NASA, all extended family asks, is if moon landing was real pay. I like the implication that, assuming the moon landing was faked, NASA just spills the beans to anyone who is hired, as if it's in some sort of employee handbook. I'm not in NASA, but I find it interesting that I have never talked to a moon landing denier, while I have talked to a few people who thought we were still actively landing on the moon more than 40 years after Apollo 17. This wasn't a conspiracy belief. They're mostly people that don't actively seek out current information and just hear news about the space station, astronauts going up, etc., and just assume they're doing the same thing they were doing since the beginning. Gets job at NASA. That's really cool. Congrats. I'm ginger, and a lot of people asks me if all my hair is also ginger. My poor wife deals with this as well. What is it about red hair that makes people comfortable with asking about your pubes in public? Wheelchairs aren't cheap, and cheap wheelchairs are not suitable for everyone, not suitable for hardly anyone in fact. It's not a choice of aesthetic wheelchair or a C100 wheelchair. It's a choice between sitting in a chair that fits the needs of the user, that enables them to be active in their life, or sitting in an unsupportive seat on wheels that physically harms the person until they're out of it again. Some friends of mine are wealthy and absurdly cheap. The wife has declining health and needs a wheelchair to get around, so her cheap husband bought her one of those wheeled walkers that you can turn around and sit in temporarily. The thing is, you sit in them backwards. The handles for the device are facing your front when you sit in them. Instead of awkwardly pushing her backwards from the front, he awkwardly grabs the back of the chair and pulls her around backwards wherever going. It is as absurd to watch as it sounds. My chair is extremely specialized for me, with the seating package tilt, reclining, elevating foot pedals and lift packages, plus more. My chair is just over $62, can then need several thousand worth of maintenance a year, but only for 5 years, because at the 5-year mark the chair is no longer worth fixing, and they start the process of getting a new 60 chair. In my 20 years I have gone through over $200 worth of chairs, as they get more expensive every time I need a new one. That feelings you have about your thoughts are still feelings and can make or destroy you equally to feelings about non-imaginary situation. I learned this in therapy. I run negative imaginary scenarios in my head a lot. My therapist called this catastrophizing, and need to remind myself to let go of the scenario instead of solving it, because it drains me if I think about it too much. And that feelings are not automatically facts. I have to remind myself to stop wasting energy getting upset on something I'm only imagining and hasn't and may never happen. My hands shake a little. It becomes worse when I'm anxious, nervous, when people point it out and tell me to stop shaking. Another thing, I have went to the doctor, a specialist. He told me it's normal. People still try to misdiagnose me with Parkinson. Worst part, it's always people not in the medical field. I have the exact same affliction. Tremors run in my family. Got made fun of a lot in grade school. Wi-Fi does not equal internet. I'm mostly telling this to my kids though. We frequently lose internet connectivity, but the Wi-Fi will be working fine. They will never understand. Is this iPad the one with Wi-Fi? All iPads have Wi-Fi, but my friend has one with Wi-Fi that works when she's not at home. That's not Wi-Fi. Or maybe it is. But you're talking about cellular latte, but I want the one with Wi-Fi. I give this will help, but telling people the Wi-Fi is the pipes and the water is the internet. I can only install the pipes. The utility has to send the water through, seems to help people get the message. That's why I can say connected, no internet. The difference between type I and IE diabetes, two completely different diseases, being a healthcare worker, and sometimes even having to explain it to my co-workers, is tiring. Yeah, type 1 is when your own immune system destroys your own pancreas cells capable of producing insulin. It's an autoimmune disease, and without supplied insulin, you'll die. Type 2 is when your blood sugar is high enough long enough that your cells become resistant to the mechanism of your own endogenous insulin, which strains and exhausts your pancreas as it churns out more and more insulin to try and clear your blood of excess sugar. It can be managed by diet and lifestyle changes to a point, especially if caught early. You can also have an underactive pancreas relative to other people, whether due to medication or disease, making it harder to clear blood sugar, even with a balanced diet. Then there's diabetes insipidus and gestational diabetes. All four are different diseases with different causes. The connection is that, like how hepatitis simply refers to inflammation and destruction of liver tissue, but can have a wide variety of causes, ranging from viral to genetic to substance abuse. As a tone, I hate this too. I get told many times over that I'm doing things wrong and that I have no idea what I'm doing, and it's not so hard, because they've lived it. 2. Diabetic. Diabetes is also just a condition that can vary wildly based on the individual, and what works for one may not necessarily work for the other. Never make assumptions. Airplanes don't fall out of the sky when they lose an engine. A 747 can glide nearly 100 miles after losing all engines at cruising. Well, that is very reassuring. How often do you find yourself explaining this? Don't get your mental health information from TikTok, Facebook, or self-proclaimed experts who aren't professionally licensed. I no longer offer a professional opinion anywhere outside of work, and that includes Reddit. I've learned that 95% of the time, people don't want to hear the facts. They just want to circle jerk about whatever reality they've conjured up in their heads, and if you correct them, they'll be pissed off, and then it's a bad time for everyone. Signed, a psychiatrist. I've had so many keyboard warriors revoke my diagnosis and re-diagnose me with other disorders, solely because I openly talk about a symptom that doesn't match their view of that disorder. They never like it when I tell them my designated mental health professional knows my condition better than they do. I'm tired, and I don't know why I'm tired. Do a sleep study. Most insurances cover it. I had the same issue. I constantly took naps. Turns out I woke up 34 times a night. The average person wakes up 2 to 5 times because of my breathing. I got a PAP and holy shit, my life changed. I started hawking sleep studies to everyone I knew. 3 of them also ended up with PAPs and have had the same results. Now I won't lie, a cup sucks and you have to get used to it. Waking up refreshed almost every day is a goddamn game changer. Of this, I took a sleep study, and they diagnosed me with idiopathic hypersomnia. For context, idiopathic is medical speak for unknown cause, and hypersomnia is just the medical term for being sleepy. As in, jet lag is travel-induced hypersomnia. Doctor, I'm sleepy all the time and I don't know why. I diagnose you with the sleepy, and don't know why. That'll be $300. The worst part is, in America, there's no FDA-approved treatments for It's not a real diagnosis. I found some stuff saying some narcolepsy meds might help, but my insurance won't pay for them unless I have an actual narcolepsy diagnosis, which the test ruled out. I left the doctor with a printout about not using screens at night and not drinking alcohol or caffeine within a few hours of bedtime. I found all the sleep hygiene stuff on the internet years ago. You think I'd be at a doctor's if all that worked? And then my friends make fun of me for going to bed really early, sleeping 10 hours, and still being too tired to function during the day. It's frustrating. I want a social life, but I'm just too damn tired all the time. It makes it hard to focus. I'm not dumb, just spacey because I have an untreated sleep disorder that nobody believes is real, not even my insurance. That chronic illness is chronic, like permanent, like forever, still sick, not getting better. Get it? Hope you feel better soon. I love when someone posts a cronk meme about chronic pain. My condition is chronic pain. It means I am in pain, chronically. My pain is chronic pain. I know I messed it up. Same with chronic pain. Just because I'm smiling doesn't mean my back doesn't hurt. Correlation is not causation. Antibiotics will not help your virus, even if you feel really crappy. I have a bad cold right now and I'm pregnant. Being pregnant makes my husband freak out 1,000,000 times more over everything. He is insisting I call my ob to get a Zark. I've lost count over how many times I've told him that we'll do absolutely nothing. Not to mention, take the entire dose, don't save half. That's how you train bacteria to be resistant. You super-educated masters or doctoral degrees in science. Idiots edit, watch this video. It proves they are making the bacteria stronger by doing it. Maintaining a safe following distance is the easiest thing to do to avoid accidents, and yet most people aren't doing it. It's basically impossible to react in time to avoid an accident if you're following less than 2 seconds behind someone. It doesn't get you where you're going faster. The accident will always be your fault. And finally, 2 seconds is way longer than most people think. Most will count 1 second edit. My most upvoted comment is one that makes me feel less like I'm the only one that cares about this. I'll take that. Thanks, Reddit. Edit update follow-up. A lot of people commenting to say they do this, but hate when people take that gap by moving into your lane in front of you. Combine that with the second most common comment. That's fine. Give them the space too. You're actually solving one of the biggest contributors to traffic jams too. Next common comment is the 1 car length for every 10. Not bad. Better than believing yourself to be immune to physics and overestimating your cat-like reflexes. Emo car lengths are more difficult to estimate than 2 seconds, and my trust in that happening is already low. Last of all, thanks everyone. This is the most fun I've had on Reddit since Shitty Mall. I always try to do this. It's the absolute worst, though when people try and aggressively squeeze in between me and the car in front of me, drives me crazy. An hour-long YouTube video about something does not mean that it is true. It could just mean that some crazy or stupid person posted an hour-long video about nothing, and you are now dumber for having listened to it, and may God have mercy on your soul. Same with images with text on them. All the fucking time on Reddit, someone posts a picture with a headline on it. People take to be the same as an actual news article. It's almost always some lie designed to make you outraged about something. I am not telling you what I did, why it happened, what happened as an excuse. It is an explanation. Why did you fall asleep during the movie? I was tired, don't give me excuses. What the fuck do you want me to say? Edit. Thank you for the award. Or I'm not answering back either. My stepmother says I have an answer for everything, and it's like, yay, you asked a question or implied I had no reason to do something. I'm not a mindless zombie. I do think about my action. Apostrophes don't make words plural. You mean apostrophes? That disagreeing with someone's opinion isn't an attack on them, or knowing the difference between a fact and an opinion. Shaving doesn't make your hair grow back thicker. Your mum told you that so you'd shave that awful patchy puberty stash for a few years till it came in thicker. If it did, baldness would be a short-term problem. Totally believed this when in middle school because my friend had such thick hair on his face cheeks, but not the rest of his face. Just because I work in it doesn't mean I know everything technology related. It is a vast field, you work in it. What phone should I get? You work in it to know why this app isn't working. We're not all help desk or some sort of phone tech support, I promise. I stopped telling people I'm a programmer with a degree in it. I stopped after my fucking pest control guy stopped me and held me up for 30 minutes asking how his Mac got hacked. Like, dude, there are a million possible reasons why your computer is fucked up. I'm not gonna fix it in my goddamned driveway. My IT career has been mostly as a sysadmin and a network engineer. Hey, you're in it, right? Yep. Can you show me how to do it in Excel?
Oh, really in it?
You cannot get a raise and wind up with a lower net income because of taxes. Income taxes are progressive. The higher bracket does not apply to the money you make under the threshold. This is different from the welfare cliff, which is very real. I once argued this with a coworker. They insisted they made less after a raise. I convinced them to show proof, and what really happened is they increased their 401 contributions in an attempt to reduce taxes and overshot. They still didn't believe me that their missing money was really in their retirement account and not going to taxes.